When I was younger in my 20s, I remember being really frustrated all the time by people saying things like you should pursue your passion and how if you do work that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I remember being really frustrated by this because to be completely frank with you, I didn't have a clue what I was passionate about. And in one way, I took that advice of like follow your passion literally and became a professional rock climber. And in many ways that was cool, that was great. Like doing the thing that I loved every day was a blessing, but it didn't necessarily set me up well in life to be a fully functioning member of society. And so I felt like I took that advice and did like the literal go do what you love, which is like, if you love doing drugs, like that's probably not gonna get you very far in life. And for me, like that would have been like go play video games. And at that point, Twitch wasn't around, thank God. Because if it was, I probably would have made a real good, strong go at becoming a professional video game player, which would have been kind of cool. But I'm glad I didn't do that because I don't think that's the type of life that I ultimately would have enjoyed. But in the time, video games, passionate about that. Maybe I should go do that thing. And I think that's what a lot of young people think is like, oh, I like playing video games. I like this activity, so maybe I'll go make that activity my work, my pursuit. Because that advice of pursue your passion, it's frustrating because when you're young, you don't really have a lot of things that you're passionate about yet, especially where it relates to work and like bringing value to the world. So you're left in this kind of weird situation where people are like, well, what do I do if I don't know what I'm passionate about? And I know from my personal experience that not having a clear answer to the question of what are you passionate about makes you feel like an idiot. It makes you feel like everybody else has it all figured out and that you somehow stupid you doesn't have the answer to like what do you love to do, what are you passionate about, what's your big overarching why that gets you up out of bed in the morning, that like lights your soul with fire. Like how could you not know what that is? And when you struggle to answer that fundamental question that Simon Sinek says it all begins with why, like when you can't answer that question, you feel like an idiot. That's how I felt for years. I felt like some everybody else had it figured out and like I was the jackass in the corner who like couldn't answer the most basic question that was, what do you like doing? What are you passionate about? And so if that resonates with you, if you've ever been in that, if you've ever felt even remotely similar to that, here's here's two ideas I want to share with you today that have really helped me over the course of my life navigate this question of like what is my passion? And hopefully it can help guide you too. So the first idea comes actually from Cal Newport, who wrote a book called So Good They Can't Ignore You. And the whole basis of that book is that more important than pursuing your passion is actually pursuing things that you're good at and that your your competence breeds passion. Like it's the things that we're good at that then kind of continue spiraling into love because as you get good at something, you get reinforced for it, which becomes a virtuous cycle. And so the things that we tend to be very good at in life tend to evolve into things that we're passionate about, which is if you follow the trajectory of say Steve Jobs, who is maybe the most famous example of somebody saying pursue your passion in his Stanford commencement speech, if you look at his trajectory through life, it wasn't necessarily that he was passionate about computers or personal computing devices. That was just the manifestation of the skill, the competence that he had built as like a product designer, as a thinker, as a marketer, and that was the vehicle through which it was expressed. And through that, in time, he became very passionate, I'm sure, and loved personal computing and all of that. But it wasn't necessarily that he had started off with like this deep underlying love of personal computing. And so Cal Newport made the argument that, you should more important than pursuing something that you're passionate about is pursue something that you can be great at. And through that greatness, you will develop passion for it in a lot of cases, not always, but in a lot of cases it's true. And I found that true in my life. Like I was never passionate about writing, but I recognized that I was good at writing. And so I leaned into that and spent a lot of time and energy mastering that skill. And with time and mastery and the positive reinforcements that came with that, then I started to love and become passionate about writing. And so instead of starting with the passion and then thinking that's going to like lead to the competency, uh, invert that and say, I'm going to pick this thing that I think I could be good at, that I think I have a potential of being great at. Maybe I'm going to become great at. I'm going to pursue it as far as I can. And in that process, I'm going to learn a lot about myself, and I'm going to learn a lot about potentially becoming passionate about that thing. Now, the second thing, as you're kind of looking at the landscape of potential skills or areas that you could pursue, um, you're going to be asking the question, well, how do I know what I could be good at? How do I know what I could maybe be great at? And for me, the simple heuristic that I use is that curiosity is the compass. Curiosity, the things that you are curious about learning more and diving deeper, and that when you start learning about them, you go into the deep, deep rabbit hole, like that is probably a good indicator, a good signal that that's something that you should pursue, because nobody achieves any level of greatness without a deep underlying amount of curiosity about that thing that encourages them that enables them rather to always adopt the student mindset and like continue digging and learning and like growing and wanting to expand their potential. That's born from curiosity, which is why in our businesses it's been really interesting to note that the skill or like the recurring personality trait that seems to most indicative of success is not like intelligence, not hard work, it's not discipline, it's not charisma, it's not like how much money you had when you were starting when you were young. It's curiosity. It's like the drive to um find answers, to be curious about the world around you, to then ask yourself, why is it that way? And in that digging process, what I found is that people who are very curious tend to also be very resourceful, because that curiosity is a prerequisite of creativity. And creativity, in my mind, is the most important skill that any of us could develop in the workforce if we do not wish to be replaced through automation or through AI or whatever. So curiosity and creativity, I've talked about that at length in other episodes. I encourage you to go listen, because those two concepts I think are pivotal for anybody young or old that wants to like take their life to the next level, who's like tired of living whatever life that you have right now that you're not satisfied with. I find that those two traits are prerequisites to greatness. So hopefully that helps you guys think through, okay, what's it mean to pursue something with passion, like, or to pursue something that you could be passionate about. In the beginning, try to pick a skill that you think you could be good or great at, and to do that, let curiosity be your compass, and give yourself time and give yourself the permission to wander between activities. I did a lot of wandering. Like, I have 3 degrees in psychology, religion, and English, so I wandered a ton in school. And then coming out of school for the next decade, I wandered through so many different activities and so many different domains without any good insight as to like what was going to serve me well. And it's only now in hindsight that I'm able to take those dots and connect them into a meaningful image. But you can't do that when you're still young. Like, you need to get enough dots on the paper before you can connect them. And so in the beginning, it's about the breadth, I think, of experiences rather than the depth. The depth will come later once you've kind of narrowed in on the things that you're particularly uniquely suited for and interested in. But in the beginning, get the polka dots on the board, and then we can worry about connecting them later. So hopefully this has brought you guys a little bit of value, a new way to think about this idea of like pursuing your passion, especially if you're young and you're frustrated because you just don't seem to have anything that you're passionate about yet. Hopefully this can be that unlock for you, and if it is, let me know. Shoot me a comment, shoot me a DM. I'd love to hear from you guys. But until then, I guess we'll see you in the next episode here back tomorrow. And as always, stay hyper focused, my friend.